HST Alps Media Advantage. Because you are an HST subscriber, you are automatically part of our Advantage program, enabling you to score great deals on PreSonus gear from Alps Media.
It's so quiet you can hear a pin drop. Hey folks, this is Johnny. Welcome to another Home Studio Trainer Live. And by popular request by the guy who actually isn't here, we're going to look at Studio 1.6 tips and tricks, and we're going to go into a deep look into automation and all that you can automate. So somebody get a hold of Kevin's Guitar Stories, because he was very irritated that I had to wait to actually do this show. The issue that I had, I just reinstalled Studio One and the issue went away. So I think we are good with automation on this level. So we're going to go through everything that I know, and inevitably there is something that I don't know that you guys are going to fill me in on, and we'll try it here and everything. Automation is a big deal for a lot of projects, especially that have heavy track counts and where you didn't really have much control over the source being recorded, i.e. a live show, boosting up a guitar solo during a mix and things like that, or things that you really didn't want to spoil the dynamic on the way in, and you're going to use automation to guide you through it. So it should be cool. Oh, he says I'm here. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure that we got this in for you, Kevin. All right, so here we are in the chat. Remember yesterday I went on a rant about the chat. Keep the chat on topic if you can. Jokes here and there are fine and stuff like that. Just keep it free of political banter, and if you insult somebody, I will destroy you. Really simple. Okay, so please, everybody be nice, or I won't. I think that should probably lay right into it right there. All right, so for those of you that are using Studio 1.5, most, if not all, of these rules that we're going to show do apply to Studio 1.5 and 6, and in most cases, even Studio 1.4. So don't feel left out. There we go. Kyle Chidruziak reminding Kevin's Guitar Stories to pay attention. So do that. So should we get on with the demo? Somebody hit the button for me. All right, so the demonstration for today is going to take us to the classroom. And let's see, we are actually going to start with kind of a clean slate. So let me close this and not save it. There we go. And we're going to open up a new song. And I think this is the one that has all the right inputs guided. Okay, so for automation, it's important to understand where the automation view begins. By that, I mean where you activate it and where you can deactivate it. Let me find something simple here. There we go. We're going to use the song, The Love That I Lost. Bum, 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 bum. And as it loads, ta-da! So everybody remembers this. right. So for automation, sometimes you're going to want guitar solos to come up. You're going to want certain vocals to come up. You're going to want to fade out certain tracks and things like that. But it just doesn't end there. If you actually look, and many of you know this already, so please just kind of bear with me while I get through to the people that don't know this by heart. Let's see. That's not what I wanted. I want to bring this down and close it. There we go. All right. So in order to show your automation, you hit the little automation icon that's right up here. Looks like a little N. And there we go. Now we can see all of the automation that I have put into this track, which really just consists of volume controls, a bus volume, and then the main volume for the fade out. You'll see there at the end of the song, I've got it fading out right there. And if you look at the mixer, you can actually see just like that. Okay, so now there's a couple of ways to put in automation. You can use a mouse, you can use a controller or a touch fader on a fader port or on one of the Studio Live mixers or on some of the third-party stuff that actually allows you to do that. We're only going to be dealing with Persona stuff here, so I'm not going to really go into detail about third-party controllers. All right, so, and just a little tidbit here. If you are going to automate your main out and you have a limiter on the output, make sure you put it on the insert and not the post, because the insert area drives the post and your rate of compression or limitation will change as the volume gets lower. If you put the limiter on the insert, everything comes down equally. And yes, the limiter works on both. So just a little tidbit there if you're going to automate your main fader for the fade of the song. All right, so like I said, let me get this back over here, and let me get this. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do this. There we go. So if you look here, these are the different points of automation. On this particular one, I actually used a fader. On this one, I actually used the mouse, and there are a couple of different pieces of automation here. Again, important to understand that in order to view automation, you can click this little automation button on or off and display or hide any automation. You can put automation into their own lanes. You can put automation into an existing track lane, and you can make the list of things that are automatable in that list as long as you need. So now, the limiter is limitless. All right, so how do we get automation in at certain points? And what are the best ways to view it? Let's start there. So, for instance, if we actually open up the automation here, you can see that there's really no automation on any of the tracks except for these guys here. Let me go ahead and zoom in. And here, so what is on this track? So we have the ability to adjust volume. That's pretty much it. It's just a bus. On this one, we can do volume and pan. On this one, we can do volume and pan. So now, on this bus, what if I wanted to insert something on this bus? And I wanted to be able to automate those. So let's look for this. Okay, here's this bus. And there's a mix tool here. This is kind of nice. So if you open up this mix tool, this is kind of like a secondary volume. But let's say on this bus, let's actually go ahead here. Decisions fall, but some things have to go right. Okay, so this is the vocal bus. Decisions fall, but some things have to go right. Okay, let's say I wanted to put a chorus on this bus. So I'm just going to actually use the little plus sign here and CCHORES. Boom. Decisions fall, but some things have to go right. Okay, so I've got a depth option here. Decisions fall, but some things have to go right. Now, let's say I wanted to increase the depth on just those words. Some things have to go right. Decisions fall, but some things have to go right. Decisions fall. Increase this one. Decisions fall, but some things have to go right. There we we go. There's a little bit of LFO speed.
Decisions fall, but some things have to go right.
Okay, so now the different ways to add automation to a lane or a track is very simple. So since this chorus exists on this bus here, I can simply right-click and say Edit Automation Depth. Boom. So now we have a line for the automation depth. Now, you know what the cool thing about this is? If I go back to this list, it has added depth to what simply had a volume on it. So now let's expand on this a little bit more. Let's just say at some point I wanted to adjust the LFO width. Right-click on here and say Edit Automation LFO. And now I have 3 items in this. Now I have 3 items here that I can choose from. And as you can see, as I select each one, you can see the LFO is in yellow and it puts a yellow line there. If I choose the depth, it's kind of like the blue-green and it puts it in there. If I choose the volume, it goes back to blue. And you can see I've already got some automation there. Okay, so now if I wanted to make the adjustment that I talked about earlier on the depth, there's the depth. And let's go ahead here into the chorus just so that we can see this. So this depth here, watch, when I move this, you will actually see this move here. There you go, just like that. So now I don't want that depth to come in until those words.
Decisions fall, but some things have to go right.
All right, so now if I want to record that change, I can do this a couple of ways. The first way is to go here and turn the automation on touch. And then the minute I move this, you will actually see it write automation.
Decisions fall, but some things have to go right.
And then off. And it plays it back.
Decisions fall, but some things have to go right.
So let's see what that sounds like with the whole mix here.
Decisions fall, but some things have to go right. Some things have to go right.
Okay, so now how else could I have done that? I'm going to do a Control-Z and get rid of that. So now the other thing that I could have done is I could have just,
Decisions fall.
and it starts right there, I could have just put a dot and brought another dot up all the way, put a dot and a second dot and bring that all the way down. So now, watch this.
I can see my decisions fall, but some
Okay, so this wasn't far enough, so I'm going to move this over a bit. There we go.
I can see my decisions fall, but some things have to go right.
And it's down. So you can put it on touch and you can actually touch the dial, or you can keep it on read and just use the mouse to actually put in your automation. Let's see, where else do we got? Ooh. Okay, so this would be a good place to do it here. All right, so I'm going to go back to touch, and I'm going to raise this just for that vocal part. Done. So that is a really good way to actually insert your automation and to be able to control it either in real time using a knob, using a controller, or using a fader on your controller, or just using the mouse. I have to admit, I do have touch-sensitive faders, and I can go ahead and do my automation that way, but I usually prefer to do the mouse or just use the knob with the mouse. It just, it's just the way that I've always done it. Okay, so if you have another control on here, let's go ahead and put this back on read. So let's say at some point I want to take the LFO width and kind of manipulate it during this automation. So if I go to LFO width, you can see that it turns gray, the stuff I've already written, but it brings the yellow line for this up. All right, so let's go ahead and do it this way. Let's go ahead and put it back on touch. And we're going to bring in the chorus. There we go. So now the LFO width is now something that we're going to take a look at. Watch. Done. Oops. So let's see. Trying to get rid of the dots there. Let's see, we're going to go ahead and put that back on read. There we go. So now you can actually see what was changed there. Okay. If I go here and I go back to the depth, you can see where we adjusted the depth. And if I go back to here, you can see where I adjusted the width. This can also be done with different types of tools in the editor. So, for instance, one of the things that I could have done. All right, there we go. So now what if I wanted to do something a little bit more manual with this? We do have some tools that will let us do certain things. Let's go with the saw wave. You can see I went up here. I went up here to the freehand tool or the paint tool, and I chose the saw. Now, I can actually, for this part, I can actually do this. Dun, 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 dun. There. Look at that. Now, see, that actually synced it to the beat. You guys got to watch the knob. It's pretty funny. Tap, 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 tap. Just like that. So you can see that there are different ways not only to draw the automation, but different ways to manipulate it. If you really wanted to get crazy, we could use, let's see here. Let's go back to here. We could use the transform tool. I could draw a nice little box over this transform tool. Oops, I did it over the wrong one. I could draw a nice little box over this transform tool and now be able to manipulate and twist it whichever way I want to. Actually, that did not work well. Oops. So let's see. That is definitely not working the way. There we go, just like that. So if I go back, Control-Shift-Z, there we go. So if I go back and I put the transform tool, all right, something is wrong with my mouse here. I am not able. There we go. There we go. So now I can take the transform tool and I can have all sorts of fun with it. There we go. I can grab the edges and I can twist and I can do some really funky stuff with the transform tool. Just like that, just for that automation part. And make it really start narrow here. And then get really wide. There you go. So there are many different ways to actually write your automation. All right, let's do this. Let me close this, and we're not going to save this. Not on this song. Here's the other songs. I'm going to create an audio track, and I'm just going to do a count in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. So now, I can go ahead and turn on the automation mode. So now there's another way to drag in automation for those of you who might be interested. So if I go ahead and on this track, I put a mix verb. just like that. Check. 1, 2. There we go. All right. So if you guys heard, if you guys were watching, if I go out of automation mode, you can see it looks just like this. And if I go into automation mode and I go here, you can see that the standard volume and pan are there. They're all set for me to automate. And as I showed you, I can go ahead and like on the mix, I can right click and I can say edit automation and it adds it to the list. But there's a couple of other ways to do this if you want to add your own lanes. So let's actually turn this off here. And let's go ahead and open up the little cog wheel that's right here. And you can see you've got a couple of different options here. So if I click on this knob here, you can see that it puts a little hand here. Now what this hand is going to do is it's going to allow me to drag the automation for the dampening. Let me see if I can do this zoomed in. Yeah, there we go. So what this is going to do, this is going to allow me to drag in the control for the dampening onto its own track. So it's not actually on the vocal track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I can actually go ahead and I can put this on touch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if I hit the automation to hide the automation, it hides the automation, but it still gives you a track. So it's usually a good idea to title that track. Just like that. Give me 1 second, guys. I have to do something. Sorry, guys. The puppy got out. The dog got out. Okay, so what this gives you, excuse me, the ability to do is it gives you the ability to keep your actual tracks clean. Yet, let's see if I can show automation. There we go. You can keep the tracks clean and still put automation on corresponding tracks. So you can actually do this with anything that's on any track. And like for this here, you can see it's only the dampening. And on this, I can actually take the size and drag it to this one. Now we have dampening and size. I can take the pre-delay and I can drag it to here. And now I've got a full menu of all of the things that I can automate for this reverb that goes to this track. Now, some people don't like to do that. Hey, Sheila's here. Sheila, I was just talking about you yesterday. I haven't seen you for so long. Yeah, I tried to find you on Facebook, and I could not find you. I had to create a new profile on Facebook because my old one got hacked, and they won't give it back. I know. It's crazy, isn't it? All right, so let's see. Charlie Dillon says, dragging the hand icon to the track. I never even thought of that. Really cool. Okay, excellent. Kyle says, under the options advanced automation, there is a setting to automatically add automation lanes for volume, pan, and mute on each audio track. Let's see, under Options, Advanced Automation. Oh, for anyone that you touch. Ooh, actually, let's try that. Okay, so you saw that I was using the hand for these. I don't know if undoing that would actually help now. No. So now what I can do is I can take this. Let's see. Okay, good. We're back to the dampening. So let's try that. And Kyle says that's under Options, Advanced Automation. Okay, let's go to Advanced. Let's go to Automation. And if we look here, automatically create automation tracks for channels. Automation follows events. Automatically add envelope for all touched parameters. That's already checked. So I'm not sure. Or does that have to happen when it's playing? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, there you go. So yeah, all I had to do was touch them. Where did it add it to? I think it added it to this one. Oh, it added it up here. Okay, so you would use the hand to create automation lanes away from the track that you're automating. But I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to go all the way back. Whoops. To here. Okay, so I'm going to put a loop track here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, All right. 1, 2, 3. So let's see. So if we go to automation, and we can see here there's only volume and pan. So if I go to the inserts here, watch this. And I go to Presonus, and I drag in. Yeah, let's get the mix verb again, just because it's simple. Okay, so since I have that checked in Options, or on a Mac, its Preferences, Advanced Automation. So the setting you're looking to make is right here. Automatically add envelopes for all touch parameters. So now, if you look at this list, there's only 2. So since this is connected to this track, let's see what happens. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we didn't actually turn on the automation. Okay, let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What am I missing here? 1, 2, 3. Do I have to do read? 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Why is it not working now? Yeah, good to see you too, Sheila. Thanks for coming in. So what am I doing wrong here? Ooh, maybe I got to do it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I should have 4 new. There we go, just like that. Okay, so we just learned something here. We just learned something very important. There are 2 places to turn on automation if you are going to use the touch method. I'm sorry, if you are going to use the option to automatically place. So if I turn this off, I'm going to go all the way back. I don't know if I can just undo. Yeah. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. All right, so if I don't want to have the buttons added automatically, I can put my track like this and put it on read. I can click on the adjustment and just drag. Should be able to drag the little hand. There it is. There's the little hand. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the size and I'm going to drag that up there. There, this is a very manual way of doing it. But if I want automation lanes to be created as I touch the controls, I need to turn the automation on here. So here's touch. So if I go here, you can see here that I'm going to just go ahead and hit play. I don't think it'll do it while I'm sitting. No, it has to be playing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now you can see that all of those have been added. So this little button here is what needs to be activated. If you are going to use the option automatically add envelopes for touch parameters. Make sense? Makes sense. Very cool. So those are some of the different ways to do it. So just remember that using the little hand here is a very manual way of doing things so that you can create an automation lane separate from the actual track. So you can hide the automation and only show the automation on the automation lane that is separate from your track, just like that. And in this case, it is just the size option. So the size option is there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very cool. What do you guys think? 25 people. We have 18 likes. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. Kevin, do you have any questions? Since this video was requested by you, I am curious to know as to what you might have been having issues with that you needed this demonstration. So speak up, dude. Oh, very cool. So thank you for the guidance there, Kyle. I would have forgotten you to show that. All right, let's see. Hold my beer. Hold my beer is here. And he is asking, Johnny, did you ever get the fader port videos back up? Yes. I got one right before you got hacked, and now I finally have time to sit down and learn it. Yes, those videos are back up. And let me actually find those for you. So all of my fader port 8 and 16 videos are back up. Product training, fader port. And there they all are. So let me go ahead and give you this link. Here you go. Bam. Let's see. So what are the other options for ride, latch, read? Okay. So read is for just what it says. Once you are actually completed writing automation the way you like it, set the track to read. Real simple. That way you can't overwrite any of the automation. Latch is a little bit different. Latch is going to give you the ability to let go of a control and have it continue to write automation, as to where touch will only write automation as long as you're touching the control. Write actually continuously writes automation no matter what you're doing and can really screw you up if you rewind back and you can accidentally overwrite all of your automation that you wrote. Okay, so for example, let's play with touch. So now, if I, let's see, we have the size 1. So if I use the size, let's see, I don't think we really need to hear that voice. But if you actually move and let go, move and let go, move and let go, you can see that with touch, it will actually write automation. And when you let go of that control, whether it's on a fader port or not, it'll shoot back to the original starting point. If you use latch, and we go ahead and we write, we move up, we let go, it stays there. It is latched to the place where we let go. Does that make sense? Let's do that again. If we use touch, it'll only write automation until I let go of the button. See, it resets. If I use latch, if I move the automation up, it stays there. If I move it down, it stays there. And you can see that it's overriding all of the other automation I had on this track. So now, if I use right, it pretty much does the same thing as latch. So if I move up and down and I let it go and it loops, it is going to overwrite everything that I just did. Okay, so does that make sense? So for me, I never use latch or write. I always use touch and read. So using touch gives me the ability to write automation, hold it, and then let go and have it snap right back to the original starting point. And it doesn't overwrite if it loops. So I can add more automation. See, it didn't overwrite. Touch is your best bet. But if I use latch, as soon as I move the knob, watch this. There we go. It is now latching and it is overwriting everything that I did, including what I just did. So, Kevin's guitar stories. Please tell me if you actually saw that. So, latch and write, I definitely would recommend not using. Unless you're doing a really, really long song and there's no chance that you're going to go back and play it back. Because if you use latch or write, when you're done, make sure you change it to read. Otherwise, it is going to overwrite everything that you just did. Right. Exactly. That's why 99.9999% of the time, I only use the touch option. Because, like I said, you can write automation and stop and have it on loop and hear what you did. To where if I used latch and I go ahead and I write automation and it loops, it overwrites everything I just did. So the latch and the write are usually latch and a lurch, right? So I usually only use the latch if I know I'm not going to go back. But I'm going to tell you, if you use latch and you want it to hold, you move it up, you want it to hold, and you stop, make sure you change it to read so that you don't lose all of that information you work so hard. Yes, Mr. Adams. Make sense? Lurch is my bud. You rang. I used to be able to do a good lurch. Lurch! Good idea. Have a rope to control automation, right? Exactly. So let's say you actually have automation and you got this puppy on latch and you go ahead and you want to get fancy and you want to use the sine wave and you go ahead and you manipulate and you're like, okay, good, that sounds good. If you forget to change latch to read, this is what happens. Oh, it actually saved that time. Oh, that's because I didn't move it. Okay, so if you forget to change latch to read the first time, but if you use it to actually make an adjustment, now it's all gone. See, it's unpredictable. Touch and read are the only ones that I really use. 28 people watching, 24 likes. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Any questions? Did I miss anything? Remember, you can add automation options to an existing track just by hitting Edit Automation. You can do it that way. You can grab the little hand that shows up if you hit the little excuse me, if you hit the little cogwheel. My dysphonia is really acting up today. Sounded like a hiccup. You can actually use the cogwheel to use the hand and create your own automation tracks. You can use touch if you want to make small adjustments and not have to worry about overriding. You can use read once you are finished writing all of your automation. You can use latch if you want your automation to move up and stay there when you let go and then move down when you're done. But if it loops, then you're screwed. No! So you got to do it again. Let's do it again. All right, let's go ahead and go up, latch, down, latch. Let's make sure to go to read. There we go. I saved it. Just like that. Hey, Trucky's here. Good to see you, Trucky. He says A is the keyboard shortcut to show automation. Yes, look closely. Da, 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 da. And Trucky knows that I never use keyboard shortcuts. I should, but I don't. Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, so I see a question in the chat and something on Wakes that says, what if I just have it set to read? What are my options? Well, that's kind of the safest way to do it, because if you have it set to read, you can actually do everything manually with the mouse. And you can just say here, and then you want the volume to go down here, and you want the volume to go up here, and then down here. And when it's set to read, it just reads the automation. You have no worries about something getting overdone. Or I should say undone. So if you are a mouser and you like to use the mouse to write your automation, just go right to the read. Just go directly to the read mode and then use your mouse to write your automation. Use your tools to create cool stuff for your automation. Use the transform tool to really customize your automation. And the whole time that you're in read, you don't have to worry at all about any of your stuff getting lost. Yeah. Yeah, right. There we go. Ready? Yeah. Just like that. So there are definitely options to making sure that your automation doesn't get screwed up. All right, let's see. So another thing, if I go ahead and I hit the A key, and there we go, but I actually show the automation down here. So now, the one thing that's a good idea to do is to make sure. Let me see if I can find this. Automation follows events. This is really important. Does anybody know why it's not following? Because this is in a lane all its own. So I don't know if this will work. No, that doesn't work. So be aware that if you create separate lanes of automation, the automation that you put in there is not going to work. So in this case, you would go ahead and you would actually go ahead with the size, and you would say edit automation, and that puts it in this area here. So now, if I go ahead and I go to touch, and I do the size thing in there, here we go, put it to read, and I actually move my event, the automation follows. Just like that. So remember, if you want the automation to follow your event, make sure that the option in Studio One settings for automation follows event is set, and make sure that you do all of your automation on the track itself. Very cool. All right, so let's see. There was another question here. Don Oliver. He says, off subject, I noticed that you have the HST powered toolbar. I have yet to get the fader arrows and the pan left and right to work and others to work. What do I need to do that? Okay, so if you just got Studio One 6, the toolbar might follow, but the special file to make it all work does not. So, if you're on a Mac or a PC, what you want to do, let's see if I can do this on the Mac. What you want to do, give me a second, is go to Applications, and we're going to look for Studio One. Here's Studio One 6. So if I right-click and I say Show Package Contents, you are going to find a little folder called Scripts. So if you look in the Scripts folder, I don't have it in here. This might be a good thing to show. So if you are on a PC, you go to Studio One, go to the Personas folder, go to Studio One folder, and look for the Scripts folder. Same deal. So let's see here. If I bring back up here, so let's see, is my resets working? No, none of my resets are working either for Studio One 6. So let's do this. Okay, we're changing subjects now. We're going to my power toolbar here. So I'm going to close. I'm going to save it in case you guys have other questions. I'm going to do another one. So if I create 5 tracks and I hit my volume reset buttons, you guys can see that they don't work. So here's how to fix that. We are going to go to Home Studio Trainer. We are going to go to Free Tools. And we are going to go to the HST Power Toolbar. And it downloads a little zip file. So now we're going to open that zip file. There it is here. And it is going to open up and show you two files. All right, so if you don't have the power toolbar at all, let's do this. Once you actually download this, the first thing that you want to do is when you go to your scripts folder, take the package file and move it in there. There. So now, if I go back to Studio One, I don't think it'll work without me. No, I don't know if I have to restart a song or restart Studio One. I think I got to restart Studio One. All right, let's restart Studio One. Let's see if this works. Yeah, don't forget, I've only got a Mac Mini with 8 gig of RAM. Making the ball follow the... I know. On my PC that has 34 gig of RAM, this all started up way faster. But I like the Mac Mini here. There we go. All right. So now, if I open up a new song, and I create 5 tracks, now this should work. Down, up. And if I just have 1 or 2 selected, I've got the selected ones to where it only resets those and ignores the rest. And if I've got different panning controls and stuff like that, I can just hit the pan reset, and there we go. They all reset. So remember, the important thing is the package file that goes into the scripts folder. So just go to the website and re-download the Power Toolbar. Then open up the zip file and make sure that you put that package file inside that scripts folder. So now, if you have Studio One, what's the other file for? You might be asking. Well, the other file is the actual macro page itself. So what you would do is you would actually go into Studio One. If you didn't see it here, you would actually go to the little cogwheel. Or no, this thing here, you would actually go. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Nope, that's not going to work. Hold on. All right. Let me go to zoom here. You would actually go to here and... Wait a minute, what am I missing? Oh, there we go. You right-click on the actual title. And then you would say import. It would be that little file that you saw that I put on the desktop. And you would browse to that, import it, and then restart Studio One again. And it would put the Power Toolbar in your toolbars list. Hopefully that wasn't too scattered. All right, let's see. Truckee has something he wanted to remind us of. He said, reminder. He said the record and monitor button, the record and monitor is disabled in that automation mode, so be sure to press A to get it back. Okay, what he means is this. if you're like this, some people have actually called support and say, hey, my record buttons are gone. I can't arm anything no matter how big I zoom in on stuff. Usually it says, oops, that's all right. I had the automation button activated. Don Oliver says, thanks. And Anonymous Husband says, thank you for this demo. Yeah, it's a little scattered. I plan on putting together some more careful actual videos. So hopefully I can put things in a better explained order and not forget anything. That's always a plus, right? Okay. I think that is it. Let's see. Music to Motion says... He says, hey, buddy, if you're not too busy tonight, maybe you could join the Zoom. Would be good to see you in person. Also, I am almost a neighbor now. Yay! Very cool. I'll see if I can. If I don't have to log into work early, I will definitely be there. Kevin's Guitar Story says, great show. Lots of info. Now I have a resource to reference when I'm working. Yes. Yes, you do. And if you look at the show, it actually has a title. So just look for the automation show that happened on 11/29. That should be perfect. You guys should be able to keep track of them now. And Truckee, thank you for the help. Studio One recognizes third-party scripts on Studio One boot up. Yeah, that's for the for my toolbar scripts. Awesome. Yeah, I've got to get the color toolbar in here. We got to do a show on that, Truckee. I missed you last time. All right, cool. So I think for me, that's going to do it. Hopefully you guys got something out of all this. And I always say that because sometimes we don't. So hopefully that helped. Remember, you can send an email to the above there, Johnny at hst-homestudiotrainer.com, and you can request a certain show, a certain subject, or whatever. I always need ideas for particular shows. And yes, for the dozens of emails I got yesterday, will I be doing more M-Voice videos? And yes, I plan on doing a series. I wish I could get the M-Voice One people to actually sponsor it. At one point, they were interested, and then they found much superior musicians to actually do their videos. So maybe someday I can get their sponsorship, but that's not going to keep me from showing you guys all of the new tools and cool tools in M-Voice One, the vocal AI program. So very cool. I will see you guys tomorrow for Songwriting Simplified. These are my last few words. Later.
HST Alps Media Advantage. Because you are an HST subscriber, you are automatically part of our Advantage program, enabling you to score great deals on PreSonus gear from Alps Media.
Join Johnny Geib and Johnny Lipsham every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Central Time for Songwriting Simplified. Fun and informative. See you there. Is Studio One filled with mysteries in your mind? Well, we can help unlock those mysteries on Saturday nights at midnight. Join us for the HST Home Studio Trainer Midnight Live Stream as we investigate and solve as many mysteries as possible. HST Home Studio Trainer, helping each other make music together.